Alstom is a French multinational company which holds interests in the electricity generation and rail transport markets. According to the company website, in 2012 or Euro 2013 Alstom had annual sales of $20.3 billion, and employed approximately 96,000 people in around 100 countries. Alstom's headquarters are located in Levallois-Perret, west of Paris. Its CEO is Patrick Cron. Alstom is active in the fields of electrical generation and transmission, with products including turbines for hydroelectric, gas, coal and nuclear-powered plants, as well as large-scale electrical grid infrastructure, solar thermal, and geothermal systems. It is also a major rail vehicle manufacturer, active in the fields of passenger transportation, signaling and locomotives, with products including the AGV, TGV, Eurostar, and Pendolino high-speed trains, in addition to suburban, regional and metro trains, and Citadis trams. Alstom was formed from a merger between Compagnie Française Thomson Houston and the Socia Copyright Tar Copyright Alsation de Constructions Mar Copyright Coniques in 1928. Significant acquisitions included the Constructions Electriques de France, shipbuilder Chantiers de l'Atlantique, and parts of ACEC ZAR. A merger with parts of the General Electric Company plc formed GEC Alstom in 1989. The company became Alstom in 1998. In 2004, Alstom was in financial crisis due to massive inherited unexpected costs arising from a design flaw inherited from the acquisition of ABB Group's turbine business, in addition to losses in other areas of the business. The company required a €3.2 billion state-backed bailout in 2003 and as a result was required to sell several divisions including shipbuilding and electrical transmission to comply with EU rules on state aid. In 2014, Alstom and General Electric announced that a $17 billion bid for the company's power and grid divisions had been made and provisionally accepted. The proposed takeover became a political issue, with the French state intervening, enacting a decree, nicknamed Der Copyright Cret Alstom, giving the French state additional powers to veto foreign takeovers. GE's bid was later modified, matching elements of a rival offer from Siemens and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries with proposals to form 50-50 joint ventures in several divisions. The modified bid was also accepted by Alstom's board at the same time the French state took a 20% stake in the company from Bouygues in order to protect its position. The GE acquisition deal is expected to be finalized by early 2015. History: Alstom was founded in 1928 from the merger of French heavy engineering interests of the Thomson Houston Electric Company the Compagnie Française pour l'exploitation des projets copyright der Copyright S. Thomson Houston and Socia Copyright Tar Copyright Alsation de Constructions Mar Copyright Coniques, with the first factory in Belfort. In 1932, Alstom expanded into transportation by acquiring Constructions Electriques de France, TARBS, a manufacturer of electric locomotives as well as electrical and hydraulic equipment. In 1969, Compagnie Gare Copyright Na Copyright Rail d'Electricité Copyright became the majority shareholder of Alstom. In 1976, Alstom merged with Chantiers de l'Atlantique, becoming Alstom Atlantique. Thus, the business expanded into marine. The next year, it constructed the first 1300 MW generator set for the Palluel power station, setting a world record with an output of 1500 MW. In 1978, Alstom delivered its first TGV to SNCF. The TGV went on to break world rail speed records in 1981, and in 1990. It also set the world endurance record for high-speed train lines in 2001, traveling the 1,067.2 kilometers, from Calais to Marseille in 3 hours and 29 minutes. In 1986, Alstom Belfort received an order from EDF for the largest gas turbine in the world. In 1988 €89, holding company CGE Alstom acquired ACEC Energy and ACEC Automatisme from the dissolution of Belgian electrical engineering company ACEC ZAR. Alstom acquired 100% of ACEC's transport division, renaming it ACEC Transport. GEC Alstom. In 1989, GEC Alstom was formed from a 50-50 merger of the power and transport activities of Compagnie Gare Copyright NA Copyright Rail Electricité Copyright subsidiary Alstom and the Power System division of the General Electric Company plc with the intent to allow Alstom to export outside France. In 1991, Alstom's parent company CGE was renamed Alcatel Alstom Compagnie Gare Copyright NA Copyright Rail Electricité Copyright, or Alcatel Alstom for short. In 1994, GEC Alstom acquired the rail vehicle manufacturer Link Hoffmann Busch from Salzgitter AG. In 1995, the company acquired the remaining shares in the steam turbine manufacturer MAN Energy. In early 1998, GEC Alstom acquired the electrical contractor Kegelec, renaming it Alstom Power Conversion. In 1998, GEC Alstom bought Italian firm SASIB SPA's rail signalling subsidiary SASIB Railways, which included the former General Railway Signal. Alstom. In June 1998, GEC Alstom was listed on the Paris Stock Exchange. GEC and Alcatel sold off part of their stakes in the capital. At the same time, the company name was changed to Alstom. In 1999, Alstom's energy division merged with ABB in a €50 joint company known as ABB Alstom Power. Alstom also bought Canada's TAR Copyright La Copyright CETA Copyright, a passenger information and security solutions company, and sold its heavy-duty gas turbine business to General Electric. The next year, it bought out ABB's share in ABB Alstom Power. In 2000, Alstom sold its diesel engine businesses to MAN Group. It also acquired a 51% stake in Fiat Ferroviaria, the Italian rail manufacturer and world leader in tilting technology. In April 2003, Alstom sold its industrial turbine business to Siemens for a $1.1 billion. By 2003, Alstom was facing a financial crisis due to poor sales and over $5 billion of debt liabilities, with the potential to force the liquidation of the company. The crisis was in part due to $4 billion in costs from a design flaw in the turbines from the 2000 ABB Group acquisition, and from the collapse of customer Renaissance Cruises, and a downturn in the marine market. Alstom's share price had dropped 90% over 2 years. European Competition Commission law required Alstom to sell several of its subsidiaries, including its shipbuilding and electrical transmission assets, when it accepted a $3.2 billion rescue plan involving the French state. In 2004, the French state took a 21% stake in Alstom and received an EU-approved French government bailout worth $2.5 billion. The company sold its electrical transmission and distribution activities to Arval, the diesel locomotive manufacturer Mindfacit of Oslo AG, and Alstom Power Rentals to APR LLC. Alstom also delivered the Queen Mary 2, the world's largest ocean liner, to Cunard during 2004. In 2006, Alstom sold its marine division to the Norwegian group Aker Yards, with a commitment to retain 25% of the shares until 2010. It also sold Alstom Power Conversion, which became Converteam, in a leveraged buyout deal funded by Barclays Private Equity France SAS. In June, Bouygues Group acquired the French government's 21% holding for a $2 billion. Later in the year, Bouygues increased its shareholding to 24%. In 2007, TGV Estate set the world speed record for rail vehicles of 574.8 km per hour. In March, Alstom acquired Power Systems Manufacturing LLC, a manufacturer of gas turbine components from Calpine Corporation for $242 million. In June, Alstom acquired the Spanish wind turbine manufacturer Ecotecnia, renamed as Alstom Ecotecnia. The company also adopted a new graphic chart using Alstom as its trading name, reserving Alstom SA for legal documents. In 2009, Alstom acquired 25% of Russia's Transmash holding. In 2010, Alstom reacquired the electric power transmission division of Arval SA, which had previously been sold in 2004. The reacquisition became a new operating division named Alstom Grid. The company also opened a wind turbine assembly facility in Amarillo, Texas. a turbine manufacturing facility in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and a new hydropower manufacturing facility in China. In 2011, Alstom and the Iraqi government signed a memorandum of understanding regarding the construction of a new high-speed rail line between Baghdad and Basra. In 2012, Alstom opened construction of factories at Sorel-Tracy, Quebec, Canada. After a consortium of Alstom, EDF, and Dong Energy was awarded 3 major French offshore wind farm contracts, the company initiated construction of factories at Cherbourg and Saint-Nazaire. Also in 2012 the company forms a joint venture with US Hydro to manufacture hydropower equipment for small and medium power hydropower plants. In November 2013, Alstom announced it planned to raise a $1 to $2 billion through sale of some non-core assets, plus the possible sale of a stake in Alstom Transport, and cut 1,300 jobs. In 2014, Alstom sold its steam auxiliary components activities to Triton Partners for a $730 million acquisition by General Electric. On April 24, 2014, Bloomberg LP reported that General Electric was in talks to acquire Alstom for $13 a billion, and claimed the deal had the support of 29% shareholder Bouygues. As a result, the company's share price rose 18% in one day. Neither GE nor Alstom confirmed the report. On April 27, Le Figaro reported that an alternative offer of a cash plus asset swap had been made by Siemens. The bid was reported to involve Siemens acquiring Alstom's power business in exchange for part of its rail transport arm, plus a cash offer as good as GE's and various job guarantees. The Siemens deal was reported as being promoted by French Economic Minister Arnaud Montebourg. However, the Siemens and Alstom's companies' product overlap was greater, representing a greater jobs risk, and had potential issues with European competition regulators. Siemens' initial offer was characterized as defensive, and was met with skepticism from investors and analysts. On April 29, Reuters reported that the board of Alstom had accepted a $10 billion bid from GE for its energy operations. A letter from GE executive Jeffrey R. Immelt to President Frans Section Wa Holland published in Les Echos. Immelt gave assurances about continued investment in Alstom's French activities, on security relating to Alstom's involvement in the French civil nuclear sector, and on job commitments made by Alstom Wind regarding its new factories, whilst making Alstom's wind activities available for sale to French investors. On April 30, Alstom confirmed an offer had been received for its power and grid divisions and was under review with key interests including the French state. On April 30, GE confirmed an offer had been made, with a value of $16.9 billion, representing a $13.5 billion enterprise value plus $3.4 billion cash. On May 5, General Electric posted an offer to buy 1/4 of the shares in Alstom's Indian power and distribution companies Euro Alstom T&D India and Alstom India Euro at 261.25 and 382.20 rupees a share, subject to its bid for Alstom SA being successful. On May 5, 2014, the French government stated it did not back GE's bid, citing concerns on the potential future of Alstom's rail transport business as a smaller separate entity, suggesting that GE transfer its own rail division to Alstom. Other concerns were retaining national technological independence in the civil nuclear field, and French jobs. On May 14, France issued a decree, nicknamed Da Copyright Cret Alstom, extending the power of the state to veto the takeover of strategic interests into areas of energy supply, water, transport, telecoms and public health. Both the French employer organisation MEDEF, and the European Commissioner for Internal Market and Services responded negatively to the decree. On June 16, Siemens and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries submitted a competing proposal in which Siemens would acquire Alstom's gas turbine activities for a $3.9 billion and MHI would form joint ventures with Alstom, acquiring 40/20 and 20% stakes in Alstom's steam and nuclear, electrical grid, and hydroelectric businesses respectively, for a $3.1 billion. The proposal included an additional offer to acquire a further 10% stake from shareholder Bouygues and the option to form a joint venture in rail transport. On June 19, GE revised its bid, valuing the assets at the same price, but with a lower cash transaction value. The revised bid proposed to form a 50-50 joint venture combining GE's and Alstom's renewable and electric grid business, and a 50-50 joint venture in Alstom's steam turbine and nuclear power business. GE also announced a memorandum of understanding between the two firms in the rail transport sector, where GE would sell its rail signaling business to Alstom. On June 20, Siemens and MHI modified their offer, with MHI increasing its stake in Alstom's steam, hydro, and grid businesses to 40% in all three, and with Siemens increasing its offer by to $4.3 billion. Subsequently, Economy Minister Arnaud Montebourg stated he would block both bids, but stated the French government was now backing the GE offer, and had given GE additional specifications regarding commitments and guarantees. It also announced it intended to take two-thirds of Bouygues' shareholding. The Alstom board met the next day and backed GE's revised bid. On June 22, the French state agreed terms with Bouygues, enabling the purchase of part of their shareholding in Alstom, taking a 20% stake in Alstom from Bouygues before payment, with an agreement to buy the shares at a €5% discount on a value of a minimum of €35 per share. Analysts commented Bouygues would be under pressure to make a deal with the state in order to gain positive political capital due to regulation issues the company was facing in the French telecoms sector. The GE acquisition deal is expected to be finalized by early 2015. Company structure, products, and services. Alstom operates in three main business areas: power generation, rail transport, and transmission. Power generation. Alstom power activities, collectively called Alstom Power Systems, include the design, manufacturing, services and supply of products and systems for the power generation sector and industrial markets. The group covers most energy sources, including gas, coal, nuclear, hydro, wind. Power Systems provides components for power generation including boilers, steam turbines and gas turbines, wind turbines, generators, air quality control systems and monitoring and control systems for power plants, as well as related products. It has a special focus on boilers and emissions control equipment. Power Systems also provides services such as product retrofitting for nuclear and fossil steam turbines and refurbishment of existing power plants. It performs maintenance and servicing under long-term agreements for its own turbines, as well as those manufactured by GE and Siemens. In Russia, the company services nuclear equipment under a joint agreement with Atom and Gamache. In Brazil, Alstom, together with Bardella, run a joint venture called Indústria Metalúrgica e Mecânica da Amazônia to build hydroelectric power plants throughout the Amazon and Latin American regions. In India, Alstom has a joint venture with Bharat Forge to manage power production from start to finish. Transport. Alstom Transport develops and markets a complete range of systems, equipment and service in the railway industry. The division has annual sales of $5.5 billion as of 2013. It is one of the world's largest manufacturers of high-speed trains, tramways and metros, electrical and diesel trains, information systems, traction systems, power supply systems and track work. The company also operates in the rail infrastructure market, designing, producing and installing infrastructure for the rail network. These includes information solutions, electrification, communication systems, track laying, station utilities, as well as workshops and depots. Maintenance, rebuilding, and renovation services are also provided by the company. Alstom Transport operates in 70 countries and employs 26,000 people. Notable products include series production of the TGV high-speed trains with over 650 train sets sold over 25 years, as well as the AGV unveiled in February 2008 and which entered service with NTV in Italy in 2012. Since 2002, Alstom has manufactured the Pendolino tilting train, following the acquisition of Fiat Ferroviaria. The company also produces Citadis trams. As of 2007, over 1,100 Citadis trams are in use by 28 cities including Dublin, Algiers, Barcelona, Melbourne and Paris. Alstom Grid, a third business section based on power transmission, was formed on June 7, 2010 with the acquisition of the transmission business of Arva S.A. The division manufactures equipment for the entire chain of electrical power transmission, including ultra-high voltage transmission lines. Alstom Grid is headquartered at La Dare Copyright Fence, the business district west of Paris, and has four main businesses: electrical transmission system products, power electric system, automation, and service. Alstom Grid has roughly 10% of the global market share. Financial information: Alstom was listed on the London, New York and Paris stock exchanges when it was floated on June 22, 1998. Following the financial reconstruction in 2003, the company remained listed on the Paris Stock Exchange, but was delisted from the London Stock Exchange on November 17, 2003 and the New York Stock Exchange in August 2004. See also: List of French companies, List of locomotive builders, List of tram builders, Notes. References. Sources: Alcatel Alstom Compagnie Gare Copyright NA Copyright Rail-Electricité Copyright, International Directory of Company Histories 9, 1994. External links: Official website, History of Alstom, Alstom History.